and welcome to RNB.
RNB.
Alright, you know what? Let's get straight into it. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow.
Disappointment.
Get straight into it.
Straight into it.
Alright guys, so yesterday for us was the series finale of Game of Thrones.
First of all, you guys have to know that we were huge Game of Thrones fans.
Yeah.
Followed the seasons this whole entire time. And me personally, season 8 has not gone to the way I needed it to. It's not fulfilled my soul the way I needed to.
Yeah, no, me either. I mean, like, okay, the first 3 episodes were good, but these last 2, I'm like, what happened?
Like, literally, what happened?
It's just, I know they changed writers and stuff earlier on, but you can just really tell that this season.
It just seems like, as a season overall, the show has been rushed. It's like, we have a whole bunch of good ingredients for a cake. We have eggs, we have the flour, we have all that good shit. We are headed in the right fucking direction. And then all of a sudden it takes a left turn. And we have fucking potatoes. Why do we have potatoes to the cake?
No, I agree. Yeah, I literally just got done watching the last episode and I was just like disappointed because I'm like, so many storylines were like just wrapped up with death, but like not even like good death. You know what I mean? Like just like pathetic.
And I think that all that started last episode.
Oh so yeah, for sure.
This episode, the finale episode, I was very disappointed. Mm-hmm. Last episode, I was angry. I was physically angry because sitting there and like watching one of my favorite characters, who happens to be Daenerys, go down to the mad road, and she's Targaryen and she's losing her mind. I was about that. I was about her doing that. I just feel like
you weren't.
I was. I just feel like Dan just rushed to it. Dan and Dan were like, because we had hints throughout all these seasons that she's going mad and that she might potentially have the ability to do what she did. I just feel like because it was like rushed and we got there so fast, it wasn't explained. Like, bitch, how is this somebody who's breaking chains and freeing slaves and fighting for the people? And
it's funny too because in one of the previous seasons, she said that she didn't want to be the ruler of Ashes. And literally in the last episode, the entire time it's snowing ashes.
She was the ruler of crisp.
So
crispy crisp.
Crispy crisp. That's what I thought was really funny, that the entire episode was just ash, and now she's looking over King's Landing and it's just all ash, and I'm like, but that's exactly what you didn't want. But she's so proud and she's so happy, and when everyone was looking at each other when she was talking, Arya was looking at Jon, and then Jon looked at Tyrion. I was like, oh, they about to kill this bitch.
And I don't want people to get it wrong. The episode itself was very cinematically beautiful. The scene where she walks out and, she's talking to her whole entire army, and before she walks out, Drogon flies over and lands behind her, and then his wings fly out, and it looks like she has wings. Dope.
Yeah, that was
dope.
Really
dope. And all shit like that is beautiful, but at the same time, you can't have...
The storyline just sucked.
They
of course did a really good job with everything. They spent a lot of money and time on it, and I know that's why some of the actors are really backing the last season, because they put a lot of work into it. But I'm just...
But at the same time, they're not, though. There's so many videos and shit on YouTube where they're being asked, how are you thinking about the last season? And everybody's like, it's great.
I mean, I know Kit Harington, who plays Jon Snow, he kind of, backed it and was like, I don't give a fuck who's gonna, talk shit about this, but I know how much hard work we put into it, Because, they're living in Ireland and stuff like that this entire time that it's being filmed, and it's a lot of long hours. They're working overnight and stuff. So I agree. Yes, the cast put a lot of work into it, but I think the writers were lazy. It's not. Yeah, they have to do whatever the writers say.
They did what they needed to do. There was nothing that I had wrong with the acting. It's just that the way that the show wrapped up is just you're just at the end with the credits, and you're like, wow. this is the end. This is what we've been
what's
waiting
happening.
for 10 years.
When John, so I knew Daenerys was gonna die. I was like, after she did the whole thing, burning King's Landing down, I was like, she has to die. But when like John and her kissed, and then he stabbed her, I was like, okay, yes, predictable. I literally was anticipating that happening at that moment. But they really had the blood come out of her mouth like that? I was like, she got stabbed one time in the abdomen, and then a little stream of blood comes out of her mouth, and then a little stream comes out of her nose, and I was like, that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
For like how she was stabbed. Like, why is it coming out of her nose? And like, why is it so immediate? I was like, okay, so Jaime Lannister got stabbed about 17,000 times and still managed to climb his ass up to the Red Keep to Cersei. Daenerys, breaker of chains, queen of the Andals, whatever, gets stabbed one time and immediately dies. I was like, okay, that's really like, yeah, that was not good.
Going back to that scene, I do like that Drogon burned down the throne because he did what Daenerys wanted to do. Daenerys' whole thing is that she wanted to break the wheel. She wanted to free the people, and that throne itself was the wheel. And the fact that Drogon burned it down and that was his last thing.
He was over it.
Yeah, that was cool.
He was over it.
But I'm like, the way that they wrapped up a whole bunch of other storylines, like it was just.
Yeah.
Arya is, going on her own adventure, becoming Christopher Columbus, gonna go spread the seeds to the New World.
Literally.
Sansa was one of my favorite storylines. I feel like her character arc came to a good end.
Yeah, I think they did her the most justice out of anyone for sure. I'm most pissed about Jon. I'm like, are you joking?
I guess I'm not, because to be honest, I'm not really a fan of Jon. I just feel like Jon did a whole lot of nothing and failing upwards. So Jon lost the Game of Thrones, and Fire Bitch brought him back, and he was supposed to sit on the throne and all that shit. Not Missandei. Missandei got her head cut off. Melisandre.
They all sound the same. Yeah, Melisandre. Literally with one extra letter.
For some reason, everybody backed Jon, and I just didn't get the hype. I really didn't get the hype.
I think it's because he was always just the good guy and always fighting for what is right. Throughout everything that happened, he always had the same goal in mind, and he always was a protector of people and really stuck to his eyes, and he's the only person who really did that, you know, besides like Arya. Yeah,
for sure. I also don't understand why the Starks pretty much ruled everything. If you really think about it, Sansa, first of all, if Daenerys was sitting on the throne, Sansa would not pull that, the North is by itself, and we don't gotta fucking listen to y'all, and I'm gonna do my own goddamn thing. Yeah. This is my area. Like, the only reason why she was able to do that is because Bran was on the throne. And who decided?
But they said that the North was independent.
Yeah, that's what she said. But
so she was just keep it like that.
If Daenerys was on the throne, that's not an option.
Yeah, no, of course.
If it was anybody else,
so do you feel like Sansa maybe didn't like Daenerys because she had that idea?
Hell yeah, Sansa didn't like Daenerys.
No, but I'm saying for that reason.
Sansa didn't
because she wanted the North.
Well, I think that she wanted the North to be on its own, yes, for sure. But I think that if somebody was going to rule it, it needed to be a Stark. So
I agree with Sansa being the.
Yeah, me too.
She was like really crazy at first, but now she seems like very level-headed now that she's like an adult. And obviously Arya is just not like a queen. She's not a leader. She wants to do her own thing. That she's been independent for as long as we can imagine. But the whole Bran being king, I'm like, when Tyrion started to speak, I was like, okay, first of all, why are they even letting him speak? Not that I didn't want him to speak, but like Grey Worm is like telling him to shut up the whole time, and then all of a sudden he starts to speak, and everyone's like, okay, listen to the imp.
Listen to
like, shh, like, I'm so confused about that. Like, I feel like a lot of things just didn't make sense. And then when he was finally like, Bran, the broken, I'm like, you have got. So I'm like, they developed this whole three-eyed raven thing to be something so cool and mysterious, and then all of it, all that it was, I saw that I was gonna be king, and that's why you had to keep me alive.
And if you really think about it, is Bran the good guy? This is a three-eyed raven. He can see the future. He can see the past. He can see, how things are gonna turn out. And this guy just sat back and let my bitch Daenerys die. It didn't do anything, and then he's just like, "Oh yeah, I'm the king now." Like, what the fuck, Bran? If you knew that was your destiny, like,
But, like, okay, so in every other, like, show or anything or movie where this, like, has a similar idea with Three-Eyed Raven, like, where they know where things are going to end up, if you tell that information, then things won't happen the way they're supposed to.
Yeah, but I guess I thought that the whole Three-Eyed Raven...
You can't interfere.
Yeah, I thought the whole Three-Eyed Raven storyline was, though, is like, he's doing what's best for the realm. But who says that Bran is what's best for the realm? And then at the same time... Maybe he is, though,
because he can see the past, future, present.
Yeah, he's a storyteller. Blah,
yeah,
blah, blah.
So he probably would be the best person because he can see all sides of everything, so he knows.
I just feel like Dan didn't give me a reason to want Bran to sit on the throne.
I mean, I definitely didn't want Bran to sit on the throne, but I don't think he's a bad
He's not a bad choice.
But that's just so shocking. But remember what I told you when we talked about this last week? I told you that I think they're going to put someone random on the throne. I didn't think it was going to be either Daenerys or Jon.
So I thought that, like, well, from the books, like, I saw some kind of interview where the author of the books, I think it's J.J. Abrams, maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was saying that, like, when you create a story and you have a guideline, you put, like, hints in it, you know, lead people on to believe this story, and all of a sudden somebody finds out the end of the story, and then you have to go back and change it.
Oh, I did hear that.
Then it changes everything and it messes it up.
So it couldn't be as good as it was.
Intended
as
to
it
be.
Was, yeah.
But at the same time, like, we had books, so everybody knew kind of sort of what was going to happen. So the fact that they decided to go to a whole other direction and do their own thing.
I think it's like they changed the ending last minute, and it shows.
Yeah,
you know?
Sure.
I think that people we're just all such big fans of the show that we would have preferred to know how it was going to end, and still watch it and enjoy the episode rather than have some random last minute shit happen and be unsatisfied with the end.
I just wanted some, like, pizzazz, you know? Okay, listen.
Pizzazz.
If this was my way and I had it my way and I had my ending, Bran would have been the Night King and he would have come back, or no, fuck that. If I had it my way, because we have no idea what Bran was doing while he was fucking...
No, this is what Bran was doing. He was like, yeah, motherfuckers, I'm the king, kill him. He's like, oh shit.
He's like watching the Avengers. I'm just like, that's the hole in the plot. I'm like, what was Bran doing? And for some reason, all of this was Bran's vision. Wait, yeah. If all of this was Bran's vision, and he wakes up, and then the Night King kills him, and we find out everybody's died to the Night King in that war, perfect.
Yeah.
Because at that point, punch in the face, nobody saw that coming. Game of Thrones, like, I just feel like for it to be such a big season, it should have went out big. Mm-hmm. Go big or go home.
We waited 2 years for this season. 2 years, and this is what happens. And, like, the whole, like, 6 episode thing, I'm not understanding why it had to be 6 episodes, because I think maybe the whole storyline of what happened in the last season wasn't that bad, but it wasn't portrayed correctly because too much information all at once. Too much happened in each episode. You know, like, they didn't break it up, they didn't build suspense. Like, when the 3rd episode happened and it was the war with, like, the Night King, I was so surprised. I was like, already? And then it was like, here's the war beginning, here's the war ending. And I'm like, oh.
All in one episode.
Something that could have been. But that was a great episode.
Yeah, for sure. But at the same time, this is the same show. This is the same show where they spent damn near 3 episodes trying to cross a bridge at one point. Mm-hmm. And now we have the biggest battle of all time in one episode.
Yeah, what I think is so weird too is, like, the timeline of everything. So, like, before it would take months to get to King's Landing. Now they're like, we're gonna go to King's Landing. 2 seconds later, we're in King's Landing.
They're like, I'm here.
I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Dan were signed on to do the new Star Wars. So I'm guessing that, like, they were like, yo, this shit's just been going too long. And I'm ready to wrap this shit up. Y'all niggas gonna have to deal with whatever the fuck I do. And that's the part that's shitty, is that these are your fans that you had for so long, and the fact that...
But Game of Thrones was never about pleasing the fans.
Yeah, for sure, and that's fine. Like, you don't have to please us in terms of, like, oh, our character won, and, you know, the person that we're voting for won. Like,
I didn't expect a happy ending.
I wouldn't expect a happy ending either. That was nothing.
I don't know even how I feel. Like, I'm just so, like, neutral.
I felt empty.
I was like, oh.
I felt empty. When the credits showed up, I just...
Yeah, when the credits showed up, I was like... I was like, sorry.
Like, the fact that you guys were just like, yo, and Dan decided to turn off their social media the night of the premiere, and they said they were going to get drunk. And you know what? If I was them, I would do the same thing. Because guess what? I got your money.
Yes, that's the thing I was going to say. It's like, regardless of how we feel about it right now, this show is done forever. They made their money. It is what it is.
There's a closed door. This was something for them that they were like, we need to end this. We have other things coming. And I'm just really happy that HBO or whoever the fuck decided that Dan are not going to be in charge of the prequels. But at the same time, I'm like, for them to end this the way that it ended, it has a salty taste in my mouth. Yeah, it has an extremely salty taste in my mouth.
Yeah, it was definitely disappointing. I don't think anyone's gonna really want to watch the prequel. I'm like, who's writing it?
Who's writing it? Who's acting in it?
Who's acting
starring?
it? Yeah.
Daenerys is dead, so I don't got nothing else to care about.
I mean, like, it's a prequel, so she'll be alive then.
I think so. What I heard about the prequel is that it's either going to be about the Night King and his story, because we know shit about him. We don't know Dilly Squad. I know that he was created by the children of the trees or fucking whatever, and they stabbed him in the heart, and he was there to protect the children from humans, because humans were coming in and destroying the trees, destroying the forests.
Who was he before, though?
I think he was just a man.
Like, they didn't say,
I don't think
right?
that they
because I remember that was like a few seasons back where they like showed the storyline of like how he became the Night King. And,
it was like he was a really big threat. And don't get me wrong, I fucking love Arya. I love Arya, but the fact that like it was just so simple, like just stabbing the sign and that was it.
I mean, that was pretty epic, though.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, don't get me wrong. Love fucking Arya. Love that scene. Cinematically, whoever was in charge of Game of Thrones did an amazing job.
They spent cash money.
They did a fucking amazing job. But at the same time, I personally tune into Game of Thrones because I've learned these characters. I've grown to love them. I know who they are. I know their story. I know their background. If I want just action, explosions, boom, 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 I would watch fucking Fast and Furious. Why? Because the characters are just...
They literally took 3 seasons, the first 3 seasons, to develop the plot, and for them to just wrap things up in this way, was such an injustice to the original writers and the actors and the fans, like, all together. Like, so many things happened that I'm just like, I don't understand. And then, like how Brienne was, like, writing, in the book about Jaime. Yes. I just feel like that was so unnecessary. Like, the whole idea of them even getting together was so pointless. It had no function in the show whatsoever.
I know that Jaime's whole thing is that he wanted to be in the Book of Nights and he wanted to have his story told, blah, blah, blah. But Brienne is a fucking badass. Like, I feel like to all the women in the show, like, they just let them be your normal average women. Like, these weren't normal people. Arya's not your normal bitch. Brienne's not your normal bitch. The fact that,
you're right, but I'm saying, besides the woman, what was the function of Brienne and Jaime getting together? There was no function.
Oh yeah, that was fan fiction. I mean, the fans
like
wanted them to get together, and then
I'm like, they had one night together, and he left before it was even over.
Epic one night stand. And then the fact that this bitch who like killed so many people and was so hard is out there. Oh my god, baby, don't leave me. Stay here with me.
I want to die.
Like, what the fuck? This bitch is hard. Like, oh, okay, cool, thanks, goodbye. You satisfied your purpose? You want to go back to Cersei, who's fucking crazy? And also, Cersei.
The way they killed her was so stupid.
I really hate Cersei, I really do. But at the same time, the episode before she died, when she chops off Missandei's head. Oh my god. Love Missandei. Fucking love Missandei.
Rest in peace, Missandei.
When she chops off her head, she's such a badass. She's looking down at them like, fuck you guys.
She's like, I don't give a fuck.
She gives no fucks. And then the whole entire time where Daenerys is burning down King's Landing, she's, oh my god.
Well, like, she was like standing there first, and when her hand came up to be like, hey. We should probably like go somewhere. She's like, the Red Keep has never fallen and it won't fall today.
She's like, I have ships. Bitch, them ships is burnt. Oh, well, we have all our armies. Oh, those are burnt too. We still have no weapons.
Bitch, everyone is gone.
Everyone is dead.
That was hilarious. And she's like, oh my god.
And then also, the fact that Tyrion goes down there because, he thinks that they still might be alive. And there's so many goddamn areas where they could have stood where the rubble didn't fall. And Tyrion just crawls on through.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Like, what?
I thought that because when the last scene of the episode before, episode 5, where like Jaime finally gets to Cersei, everything is on fire, like crumbling around them. And then when I saw it, I was like, and they weren't that covered either for Jaime's hand to be like sticking out. I thought it was gonna be like buried deep. Yeah. There were gonna be crushed skulls, but then they're just like, laying so peacefully together. And Tyrion had to take 2 of the bricks off of them to reveal their entire bodies. And like Cersei has like 1 scratch on her face. I'm like, what? I'm like, I want some fucking blood.
I wanted to see Cersei die. I wanted somebody to choke Cersei the fuck out.
Yeah, I'm like, how can we go from the Red Wedding to this? I'm like, Cersei's literally the biggest villain of the entire series, and then she gets killed by fucking Brick.
And I'm like, I also think that Cersei didn't deserve that because I love a good villain. So, like I said, I hated her. I hated what she did to everybody. But at the same time, I loved her. I'm doing this because this is what I want to do. Yeah. And that was it. Mm-hmm. So the fact that this badass bitch just gets, crumbled by some rocks.
By some rocks. I wanted someone to chop her fucking head off, man. I wanted to see that bitch, like, skinned alive.
So I guess metaphorically, it was supposed to be... So Cersei wanted the throne so bad... And right under it, the throne is what crumbled on top of her to kill her. So it's supposed to be metaphorically. It was. It was like where she was. Oh yeah, you're right. Not. Yeah, you're right because the Iron Throne was still there.
Yeah. Oop. What are you talking about?
And
Oop. Let's rewind. Yeah, no, it was a cop out.
It was just a rock. Yeah.
It was just a rock.
It was shitty.
Literally a rock.
Definitely shitty.
Yeah. I'm like I'm glad that Tyrion didn't die. I thought that bitch was gonna kill him. I was like, please not Tyrion. Please not Tyrion.
So about Tyrion, I'm neutral on the fact that he's alive. The fact that he's Bran's hand is bullshit.
Oh, I'm like, the most obvious thing you could ever decide. And he's like, Bran, I really just don't want it. He's like, I just want to drink wine and fuck bitches. He's like, please don't make me do that again.
I'm just like, the fact that this man was locked up in chains, he's the one who decided who was going to be king. When Bran sat into the chair, he's like, yes, Bran, breaker of this, breaker of... He's the one that
he decided everything. And he was the one who told Daenerys everything to do too. I'm like, you know what? Tyrion is that motherfucker.
He is.
He's actually just the hero of the show.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I just don't feel like there's any real heroes of the show. I just feel like all the hard decisions were made by people who aren't here anymore, aka Daenerys. I mean,
oh my god, you're so Daenerys. Upset.
She's my Khaleesi.
Okay, he's just speaking out of lust.
They didn't have to do that to Emilia Clarke. She deserved better. We deserved better.
I mean, okay, she should have died more epically.
She's a legend. Don't get me wrong. The fact that Drogon just picked her up and went out of nowhere.
That was super sad.
That's a legend. That's a legend type shit. But at the same time, Bran's like, oh yeah, where's Drogon? And he's like, never mind, I'll find him. Bran, why are you acting like you don't control fucking ravens and shit? Bran's like, oh yeah, I need a whisper. Nigga, you are the whisperer. You are the master whisperer. I don't understand. I just don't understand. I'm like, there for sure has to be another war. It doesn't make sense to me how it ended. The Starks own everything. The fact that everybody's just okay with it after we've done all this fighting for all this time doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, Dan, congratulations. I'm happy that, you got better opportunities, I guess. But I just think that you could have, ended this in a way that was easy and satisfying not only for you, but for us. Yeah. And the fact that, you chose to take the easy way out is shitty. But, I mean, at the same time, you got money, so who am I to talk,
Yeah, it's super surprising because they haven't had a bad season.
They weren't responsible for all the seasons, though, so, I mean...
No, I'm saying, Game of Thrones as a show has never had a bad season.
Yeah, that's true.
So, the whole thing is just a little bit weird.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to be our ending for Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
We kind of just jumped in there because that shit was just sitting on my chest so heavy.
I literally finished it 5 minutes before we started recording this.
And I couldn't breathe.
I have a tings.
I just couldn't breathe and we had to get out of there. But I mean, you guys are tuned into RNB episode fucking 1.
Woohoo!
So here at RNB, we want this to be a place where we can escape. We can, tune into pop culture sometimes because I mean, hey, everybody likes to.
If something interesting is happening, I mean, we're gonna talk about it.
We are going to talk about it. Why? Because we have opinions, and you guys have opinions, and we like to hear those opinions. So, we just want this to be a place where we can interact with you guys and interact with each other and become a community. Build a family. A little family.
Hey,
So, next on our list is going to be what? What should we talk about?
I think we should get to our segment called "Get to the Fucking Point."
Get to the motherfucking point.
Yeah, we are just gonna talk about issues that no one wants to talk about, or issues that we feel like need to be addressed.
Overall, there's a lot of conversations that need to be said that don't, because people take the easy way out.
Yeah.
And we feel like we don't want to do that on this podcast.
We're gonna talk about what everyone is thinking,
but doesn't say.
But is too afraid to talk about it. And I totally understand why, but I'm like, I got things to say.
These are the type of conversations that move us forward as a community. So the fact that there's not enough people doing it, I want to give my shout outs to fucking Crystal and Kid Fury. Yeah. Those guys are fucking amazing.
We love the read.
And the fact that they have their opinions and they're so strong in it and they believe in it and they go all forward to it. Yeah. That's something that we aspire to do and something that has inspired the show.
Yeah, absolutely, positively.
So today's Get to the Fucking Point is...
So guys, we're going to talk about something extremely controversial today, which is great. So we're going to talk about the recent abortion ban.
Yeah, this is a topic that's...
Chirp.
This is a topic that's hard for me to talk about because I'm a guy with a dick, and I feel like a whole bunch of guys shouldn't have as many opinions as they do on this topic. And the fact that old white men are sitting in offices deciding what women are going to do with their body is actually fucking disgusting. And the fact that nobody says it and doesn't say it enough and stand in that.
The fact that other people are even agreeing with them, people who are not even in politics, young people our age, I'm 25, he's 26, people our age are agreeing with this. I'm like, are you insane? You know someone in your life who has had an abortion. It doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't make them a murderer. Could you imagine what people's lives would be like if they had an unwanted pregnancy and all of a sudden they were forced to be a parent when they are not even mentally or physically ready for that responsibility? Think about the quality of life that person and that child is going to have.
Yeah, for sure. And before we even get deep into it, the reason why this topic is coming up right now is because the Alabama abortion law.
Okay, let's just give a little bit of information, background. So Alabama recently passed a bill that restricts abortions past 6 weeks of pregnancy. So most women don't even know they're pregnant at 6 weeks. There is a large majority of women that find out that they're pregnant way after 6 weeks. I'm like, 6 weeks is fresh. I'm like, at that point, your period is late. You haven't maybe even missed your period yet, So just the fact that they're just taking away the autonomy to do what you want with your body is just taking so many steps back into what are we in 1940s, 1930s right now?
Yeah, for sure.
Where I'm a woman and I can't make my own decisions.
Yeah, for sure. So this is gonna sound pretty stupid, but as a guy, we say stupid things sometimes. But personally, I relate this whole entire topic to the Hulu show Handmaid's Tale, where they're forcing women to have children.
This is just the first step.
The fact that we are, kind of going in that direction is scary.
Yeah,
that's really fucking scary because
I've had conversations about that.
Because that it didn't happen all at once. That's the whole thing. Is that this is a gradual thing.
This is literally Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, you gradually start allowing people to make decisions for you, and you stop fighting and you start complying, and all of a sudden you're in a you're in a situation that you're like, what the fuck? How did this happen? How did we get here? How at one point where all these women were choosing to have children and choosing to be happy in their lives, and these women are taken away and being forced, and now when they do want to stand up, they do want to fight, it's too late. It's too late. The system's already in place. Once you allow something to be, changed and then once again concreted, it's very hard to break that mold.
Yeah, like everything that's happening right now can of course be changed with a new administration, but it would take a lot. I mean,
it's just like how do we allow it to get to this point?
How did we get here?
And I think that like it's a lot of not only our generation but everyone being like complacent. We're like, oh, that won't happen to us. That won't happen to me.
It started with the election, obviously, with Trump being elected.
For sure.
And it's just like no one took the election serious. A lot of millennials did not take it seriously because they feel like their voice, is not heard, their vote doesn't count, and so a lot of people didn't vote, and they're like, oh yeah, this whole thing with Trump is just a joke, like, it wouldn't even happen. I've heard so many people say that, oh, I'm just not gonna vote because it's just not gonna happen. Like, surprise, bitch.
Yeah, public service announcement, if you don't vote, you
have no right to say anything about what's going on right now.
Not only that, but if you don't vote, it's a vote for the other side.
Yeah.
Because if it's something that you believe in, and you believe in the Democratic side, or you believe in a person who's not Trump, and you don't vote for him, you are particularly taking away a vote from somebody who you could have voted for. But at the same time, bringing it back to the whole abortion thing, as a male, I just feel like imagine. Like, as a guy, they're like, hey, you need to have a hysterectomy. And those can be, reversed or whatever. So you need to have a
hysterectomy?
Or, yeah.
For girls?
No, a guy. That's what I'm saying.
Robert, hysterectomy is taking a uterus out of a person.
Well, at the same time, saying...
Vasectomy.
Well, those can't be reversed. But say for some reason that can be reversed. And they're like, you need to have this to protect people and protect children. Make sure you don't have unwanted kids.
What, a vasectomy?
Yeah.
Can be reversed.
It doesn't matter. We're not... Take that out of the equation. Say that we're trying to... Like, we need to have a life-changing procedure in order to make sure that you are out here getting bitches pregnant. And it's painful, and it's something hard for you to go through. I feel like if a male was forced to do that and forced in that position, we would be able to sympathize and empathize a lot more with what's going on right now. Because I don't want to go under the knife. Yeah. And the fact that, like, we're forcing people into situations that they don't want to be in, like, I wouldn't want to be forced to do that. But, like, why is it okay that we are forcing women to have children? I just don't want to be forced into doing anything that I don't want to do. And I feel like as men, if we were forced to and had have a surgery that we didn't want, we would be able to sympathize and empathize with the situation that we have going on right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that those men that decided that bill have a hard time understanding where women are coming from because they might not have to be the ones to deal with the child after, like more than likely if someone's wanting to have an abortion, they're probably not in a stable relationship and they'd most likely end up raising that child alone, So, of course, these men are deciding for women and probably wouldn't even be in the situation to raise a child that they didn't want if they were...
And then one of the specific areas that are, like, in the clause are saying that, like, if the person was raped or if the person was, like, forced, I'm like, I don't understand how if you had somebody forced onto you and somebody forced themselves in you, and now, the result is pregnancy because, sex leads to pregnancy, and you're forced to have that child. Like, yes, you're correct. The child didn't do anything. But at the same time, the mother also didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot that was a part of it. Yeah, so in terms of, like, rape and incest, so the woman wasn't even able to say no, wasn't even able to make the decision not to have someone touch her body and violate her. So not only should she have that kid, but like have a kid that she doesn't want, but have a kid that she doesn't want with someone who abused her, who raped her. Like, that's it incredible. And for the terms of like incest, you're probably gonna have a kid with a lot of deficits. So it's
just like an overall type of situation that like has a whole bunch of negative outcomes. So I guess that the only positive that the other side would supposedly see is that like they're saving a life. But at the same time, you're forcing somebody or forcing a life into a situation that it's not nurturing. And, you know, the whole nurture versus nature is a true thing, that if you're being raised by your parents, you're being raised by people that love you, people that care about you, you are a lot more likely to be successful, not successful, but, you know, be more emotionally stable, be more ready
successful,
for the world.
for sure.
And whenever you're, like, having people forced into foster homes, and the argument is that there's so many people out there that can't have children, and there's so many people out there that wanted kids. So the fact that, like,
there's so many people not adopting kids. There's so many kids that spend their entire childhood in foster care. So it's like, the whole thing doesn't even add up, and I just think it's ridiculous that people care more about the fetus than they do the baby, because after that fetus comes into the world and, you know, becomes a part of a family, the government doesn't want their tax dollars going to food stamps and all that stuff. The same people who are pro-life are also against welfare. So I don't understand how that makes any sense.
Like, there has to be a give and take. There has to be a give and freaking take. And what the part that I just don't get, that, like, really has me baffled and confused, is that, like, where you're from the other side, they are deciding to allow, like, a book to make decisions for people's life for the rest of their life. And I just don't agree with that. Like, I do agree that there is a higher power and there's something more than this, but at the same time, like, I don't agree allowing a book telling some people, hey, you have to have this child. And because, you know... You shouldn't
impose your religious views on other people just because you think that that's the right thing, you know? There's so many different religions in this world that have different views, and, like, why is yours more important than anyone else's, you know? Like, separation of church and state. Don't make a law based on religion. So you're not supposed to do that.
And it just sucks because, like, the U.S. in general, like, if you're not Christian or you believe in Christianity, then all of a sudden, like, your views and beliefs are put to the side.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, there should be a separation of church and state, but there's not. Like, you know, it's very, like, correlated and side by side. And I think that that's another whole entire conversation. But, you know, with the whole abortion thing, I just hope that people are able to have some sympathy, like, show... Like, yeah, you're voting on this bill, but you're not in that person's shoes.
You need to empathize. Yeah. You need to empathize, like, to be like, okay, so let's say you made a mistake and you got pregnant and you're like 17 or even 25 or whatever, but you're not emotionally ready for that, or you're not financially prepared to take on the burden of having a child. Like, how would you feel if you were in that position? Like, even though you're a guy, let's be the woman in the situation, you know? Or how would you feel if, like, I don't know, you wanted to give your kid a life that is nurturing and you're able to give them a really great education and put them in all these different programs, but you're still in college, so you can't even get a job.
Yeah, raising children is not the answer.
Yeah.
And for all those people that are like, oh, well, it's a life, and, you know, life is so precious. There's so many people and children, not people, there's so many children in foster homes that are suffering and going through shit that they shouldn't have to.
Yeah,
they didn't ask to be here. They were forced, and not forced, but people had them and didn't want them and decided to, you know, decided to give them away, thinking that, like, you know, they would be doing what's best for them. And, you know, abortion scars a person in terms of, you know, that memory. Like, you know, they feel like you do have to live with that guilt. You did.
Yeah, it's not like just people are just going out and partying and then getting pregnant and then having abortions every other weekend. Like, that's an emotionally scarring and mentally scarring thing that someone has to go through. I think people are making it seem like people are just getting abortions left and right and not thinking anything of it. I'm sure that after people get abortions, you know, we're more responsible and they try to do better, you know?
And even if they're not, it's not our business. It's not our job to police people. Like, I don't want somebody policing me and telling me what I can and can't do. And once I do make a decision and there's consequences, that's for me to deal with. It's not somebody else to tell me I have to do something and I have to deal with it. Like, you know, like, it all comes down to personal choice. Yeah. And I just don't want it to get to the point where we lack on this and then all of a sudden more things get taken away. and more things and more things. And all of a sudden we wake up and we're in a world that we can't recognize. And because we just let shit go, like, we don't have the right to
do
be upset.
anything.
Yeah, you can't be upset. If you didn't fight, if you didn't vote, if you didn't go out there and make your voice heard, you have no right to be upset because
this was, not that you voted for the abortion ban, but you didn't try to stop it either.
silence is the same thing as compliance.
Yeah, exactly.
You being silent is saying... You being silent is pretty much the same thing as saying that you agree with the overall situation.
Or that not that you agree, but maybe that you don't disagree with the situation.
Either way, speak the fuck up, knuck up, or butt up, or shut up. Fuck up.
All of the things.
So, I think that's going to be the end of our get to the motherfucking point. We came here, we had a point, we got to it, and now we're here. But this is our first episode, so we are still trying to find out our segments. This would not be our last segment. We want to do like an advice type of thing where we are reaching out and speaking to you guys. You guys are telling us what you want to hear, and I know y'all got problems out there.
Yeah,
we want to help you. We want to help solve them.
Exactly. You can send us an email of any problems that you may have that you want us to discuss or maybe give some advice on. You can find us at official RNB Podcast at gmail.com. You can also find us on our social media outlets on Instagram and Twitter at official_RNB Podcast.
Yeah, for sure. We also have our individual social medias. Mine is Rob Bates. ROBBATESS, so two B's, two S's.
And you can find me at BRVTT. That's Brit with a V instead of an I, because I'm a cool kid.
We want you guys to reach out. Tell us what you want us to hear, in terms of topics. We understand that podcasts can be sometimes hard to listen to, and we don't want to be those boring bitches that don't know what the fuck we're talking about. So
yeah, for sure. And also, if you're only listening to us as audio, we also have a YouTube where we record our sessions. So if you want to, take a gander at what we look like.
Yeah, we're just real bougie. We got audio visual. Audio visual.
It's literally the biggest pain in our ass, so please, give us some support. Anyways,
we're just really happy that we're finally here in our first episode, and we've come through a lot of adversities. We put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and we're excited to see where this whole R&B thing can go. We're using this as a creative outlet, not only for us, but for you guys.
Yeah.
And we hope that you guys are down for the ride, because, we just getting started, baby.
Yeah, come hang out every week with us. We don't have a strict day that we're uploading, because we both in nursing school.
And school's hard as fuck.
School is super hard. But we're definitely uploading every week because this is a big priority for us and we want to make something of it. So, hit us up. Slide in our DMs on Instagram or send us an email. But anyways, thanks for hanging out, guys.
Thank you guys so much. Till next time.
We'll see you next week.